And so, in general, folks are constantly fighting this battle against not only these two entities that are profiting very directly off of the money that's made through mountaintop removal, but these big greens are also scamming folks as well.
You did good.
I'm telling you to sit down.
Maybe go back. So we almost never get to bring this up, but I really like it, and I think you guys will get it. There's little dotted lines over the sky, and they're cutting out and tearing down pieces of the sky. Does anybody know what that might be a reference to? Say it.
Permits for like how much carbon like you can emit, and like the trading of that, and how that's sort of affected like a lot of other things. But I mean, it's basically like, you have this much sky, and if you want to trade some of your sky to somebody else, you can, and that way we can all make money off trading sky to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Exactly. We've already figured out ways to own water. We've figured out ways to own land, and now we're figuring out ways to own our very air. So this is what we like to call the showroom of false solutions. Would anybody like to name some of these false solutions we have featured up here? Can you see them? They're over there too, behind. Ethanol. Nuclear. Solar. Wind. Clean coal.
It's bubbly. Look at it. It's so clean.
The science fiction of clean coal. We also got hydrodams and liquid
natural gas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Got some corn up there.
Does anybody recognize
Corn,
the
ethanol.
tree in the top right?
Palm tree.
Palm oil. I
Palm
heard
oil.
somebody
Ding,
out there
ding.
saying it. It's awesome. So, about this point in the presentation, most people, somebody will get up in the audience and be all in a huff and say, okay, we won't use any more coal. What are we going to replace it with? And the thing is, as Aaron was saying before, that hunk of coal, that's millions of years of sunlight energy. We get 1 year of sunlight into our planet every year. So if we're burning millions of years in 1 year, the math doesn't work out there. So could we ever possibly replace coal with any of these means? With solar panels? 1 year, right? The sun also affects the wind, which turns the turbines. If we covered the whole earth in corn, we wouldn't even come close. We wouldn't even get a fraction of the amount of energy from that ethanol as we do from coal. Hydrodams, they block up the rivers and affect wildlife up and downstream. Liquid natural gas, I mean, they're thinking about drilling it in my area. I'm not going to be able to drink my water anymore. Nuclear, we're the viable, mineable uranium in this country is only going to last us another 60 years. So we're just going to launch ourselves into another energy crisis. Am I forgetting?
Well, I just want to mention how much space that we will have to cover with solar panels if we're going to use that. Because it is, in theory, this really clean, renewable resource. And, when using it on a local level, it's such a great idea. But how much land are we going to have to cover? It's been said that maybe we could cover the entire desert with solar panels and we could power America. But then what's going to happen to the desert? Or we'll be continuing to create these sacrifice zones. And there's been maybe not. Someone in a previous presentation may or may not have referenced covering other countries.
Yeah, when we're living in the cult of the good idea, and who are the dudes that get to come up with these fabulous ideas to get the promotion? They're going to want to coat the whole continent of Africa with solar panels so that the people in Europe can, have their plug-in toothbrushes. Like this, it's really. Yeah, there is no easy answer, and that's we're stuck, and that's the point we're at, and it gets really hairy with us trying to talk to people about this because we all want an answer, right? It really sucks to be alive right now and inflamed in the guilt and just confusion about how to be responsible in this moment, and it's not about having an answer. It's about having lots of questions and talking to each other and trying to get to the truth of the situation and working on our imagination and our creative problem solving so we can get to the point where we can understand these other ways of thinking that get us around the problem in a different way besides just trying to buy our way out of it, right?
And I don't know if you want to save this for the end as well, but I don't know if you mentioned like the solar, like the concept of photovoltaic glass. This is actually the glass, or used to be the glass capital of the world, but that's one of the areas that UT, University of Toledo's researchers, a friend of mine on that project, where every pane of transparent glass on Earth will be a photovoltaic panel. So it's not panels the way we thought of in the past, but I didn't know if you included that as part of the solar mix.
So you're saying, well, also that, okay, we could be upset about what the corporation's doing, but wait a minute, let's think about it. Okay, now, but what are we going to do? So we can argue against something, but in the meantime, what are we creating when we argue against one specific thing? So the whole argument is the argument in, where's the solution there inside the argument? It seems like we might have to go back to the farm and eliminate the car. Get the horse and buggy back out there. There you go.
Well, it always
I think maybe we're being presented with a false problem, right? Like that maybe the mindset that's there behind just us, like humans, being able to meet their basic needs and respect the planet and each other, like replacing things and trying to keep up with ourselves in the way that we're doing this. It's fucked, right? And we can't think about it that way.
You know, this is such a problem because I can give you a microcosm example to show you what exactly, like it could be a lot more people. I mean, the presentation, I just learned about y'all the other day. I was looking at this drawing that was already here. And the guy was telling me, I thought it was fantastic. And he was telling me y'all was coming today. And they was explaining the drawing to me. Y'all did a good job. They explained it pretty good. But I was in prison for something I didn't do, of course. I didn't do it, y'all.
Of course, we know,
but I was in there, and they had the situation with the phone system where if you're a prisoner, you call home, they put a surcharge on you. I forgot what it was. It might have been like $6. But every minute they charge you a lot of money. So, right, and they got this place called Cure Ohio that's advocating for inmates, trying to help inmates out. You know, trying to show inmates, just like y'all doing with this presentation, but showing up how to fight, how to be active in your own, you know, in your incarceration where you can get something positive out of it, and you can stand up for yourself against, because the corporations have taken over the prison system in so many ways, through prison labor, private corporations, prisons, you know, or just the people that work in the criminal justice system is using bodies as ways to amend in their endeavors, in their careers. So, you know, even the police and stuff, with the different, when we talk about weapons and technology, when you put the police department in there, it ain't just the defense department. They always coming up with new weapons and new ways to keep people under control, infrared, scopings or whatever. But, so Cure was telling inmates, well, y'all don't use the phone, ain't no how, for one day. So you can take away this bunch of money from the prison system, because actually the phones, the prisons get some money and the phone company gets some money. So they charge you ridiculous rates to prisoners' families, mostly poor people. But the prisoners, the people who suffer the most, were so, you know, because I was reading about it, other people was reading about it, so I tell everybody. But I think the people in the prison were so self-absorbed. They not even paying the bills. You know, people getting their phones turned off because you calling home. You can't take the time to get a letter in an envelope or write a letter. You gotta go talk on the phone. When the stamp, the price of the stamp about 30-something cents then. And you rather pay, you know, hundreds of dollars. Some dudes getting other people just to talk on the phone. Well, they wasn't willing to give up that privilege for one day. That's the same thing with this society. Ain't nobody gonna be, a lot of people, you know, because, like y'all get this presentation, but because of the corporate America or the corporations, I won't even say corporate America, I say all of them around the world, because they all got a hand in it now. If you think about rich people, how they operate. But, you know, they don't pay $1 billion or $1 million to have an advertisement at the Super Bowl, because I watch sports. Because they know people going to watch. And then tomorrow, when the commercial play, that's what they're going to be talking about on TV. You know, people that spend all that money to have that commercial on TV, they're going to be talking about it on the TV shows. When people go to work, they're going to be talking about that product on this show.